Hello everyone, this is going to be a 170 Q&A test. Plaintiff attorney is Mr. Cox, C-O-X. Defense attorney is Mr. Rogers, R-O-G-E-R-S. Again, plaintiff attorney Mr. Cox, C-O-X. Defense attorney is Mr. Rogers, R-O-G-E-R-S. And plaintiff attorney is going to be questioning. Ready? Can you repeat that, please? Can you say that again? That part of maybe that one and one or two more. You stated that earlier that Mr. Berman, a payment was not taken from Mr. Berman by the foreman. Are you sure of that? No, I'm not positive of that. I can't say for certain. You are just stating that from your review of the work order? Well, looking at that, I would say no, because I wrote up the work order. That is my handwriting for sure. But you are not sure of whether or not a payment was taken from Mr. Berman. Is that an accurate statement? No, I'm not sure. I don't know. Are you sure that you did not tell Mr. Berman to give some sort of a payment to the foreman? Do you remember doing that? No, I'm positive I did not tell him that. And how do you know that? What makes you say that? Because I would only do it when the foreman asked me to do it, and he never asked me to do it on that job. How many jobs were you handling at the time? Were there several? We were doing 8 or 10 jobs every day. There were several, yes. It is just really clear in your mind that Mr. Berman, you just remember this case, that he did not ask for it. Is that the truth? Right. I would have it written down on that work order, so he didn't ask for it. I see. So your statement today is that you never. That is made up 2 weeks ahead of time, so I know for a fact. Is this your writing on the work order that we have here? Yes, that is my writing. So your whole basis of your position is that from your recollection of the work order, right, but I would have had here where it says pick up payment on the job, and I would have had a big mark, a red circle around that, and the amount along with my initials or my signature. Now, you stated that you went into the hospital on June 22nd. Yes, that is right. Mr. Berman's job was done on that particular date. Yes, it was. Is it possible that someone else could have taken over the paperwork for you after you went in the hospital on that date? That's very possible. That is very possible. So it is possible. Is that what you are saying? Someone could have, yes, sir, that is possible. So someone else could have. Now, this work order was dated 22, the month of June. Is that correct? June 22nd? Well, it was done on that day, but it was made out a few weeks ahead of time. The work orders are written up in advance. The work order. So then from this work order, this would not reflect any. I dispatched them out that morning. I see. And when did you go to the hospital? I went in the hospital later on that morning on the 22nd. How would you, if Mr. Berman gave your foreman a payment on the date of June 22, 2008, how would that be reflected in your work order? He would write it in here under job comments. But you were in the hospital at the time of this particular job? Well, this is the foreman's copy. Oh, I see. Okay. It was the one he had in the field with him on the job. You do not know whether or not he may have picked up a payment and failed to write it down on the work order. Is that a possibility? No, I can't say that he didn't. I don't know. So your statement is that this work order was made up just a few weeks prior to the job being done. Is that correct? Right. There are always written They are always written up prior to the job. So if Mr. Berman called in the meantime and asked for a payment to be handed over to the foreman, that wouldn't have been marked down on the work order. Let me clarify it. That is broken down. Everything that's written out ahead of time except for the date the job is done and who the foreman is, because the schedule was made up the night before. All right, I see. So it's never made up the day of? He made it up the night before. Now, this job was shot on the exact same day that I went in the hospital. Anything after that, they went out that morning. I have no knowledge of what happened after that. All right, now I am confused. What he has indicated is that if the foreman picked up the check, then he would have written it down under the job comments. But he was in the hospital at the time the stuff was shot. When he came in, it would have been done. The foreman would have written it down, not Jack. You're saying the foreman would have written it down? He picked it up. He picked up a payment for some amount of money. But you are not sure if he did or not? No, I'm not. I don't know for certain, right? As far as you know, a payment could have been picked up by a foreman on that day in June. Are you saying that is possible? It could have, but I would like to stress if they did, they would have written it down. It would show in the comments section. But he may not have. Is that possible? Anything is possible, counsel. Maybe he forgot to write it down. Are you aware of the problems Mr. Berman had with the work done to his pool? Did you know about that? No, I have never heard about that, no. Now you stated that you were in charge of the problems, but you didn't do that after your time in the hospital then. Is that correct? I was off from June until October, so I didn't handle anything during those months. Who took over the problems? Was there a complaint department? I think Jay and Doug both took them over. They both did it. So you are not aware of any problems with respect to the cleanup of Mr. Berman's pool or the steps? You never knew about this issue? No, none whatsoever. I wasn't aware of any problem with the pool. Other than the contract you had with them, you never had any contact with Mr. Berman, is that correct? No, I did not. I never had the contract. I never had any contact with him outside about the contract. As far as I knew, he was happy. Have you ever had any contact with any of the workers or anyone affiliated with him regarding this job or contract? No, I haven't. The only time I exchanged any words with him and his workers was just to say hi when I was at the job site. Okay, we have a short word list. We've got Doug, capital D-O-U-G, Jack, capital J-A-C-K, Jay, capital J-A-Y, and Mr. Berman, capital B-E-R-M-A-N. And this concludes our 170 Q&A test. Good luck.